What's up, Raptors fans? Welcome to the Warriors Report. Thank you guys for being here. I was not expecting to drop a video. You know what it is. It's the Jays day today. They got a big game coming on. Let's go Blue Jays on a side note. But let's talk about some Raptors news. And that is that the Raptors, this is news we've been hearing all summer long. And that is that the Raptors are still interested in Ben Simmons. Multiple teams have still been linked to Ben Simmons. Now, this is not a coincidence. This comes a day after that the 76ers said they will not pay Ben Simmons $8 million. So is this the Raptors actually being interested in them? Is this just a case of maybe the 76ers making these rumors up just to kind of get Ben Simmons' trade value up? We know that whole situation has been really messy. I'm going to break that down in today's video. So if you want to like this video, it does help reach a lot of Raptors fans, basketball fans in general. So that'd be awesome if you guys want to do that. If you guys want to subscribe, that'd be cool as well. I also do give a shout out to random subscribers. So for today's video, the shout out goes to Sue. So Sue, you've been here on this channel for a while. So I appreciate your likes and your comments. It is very much appreciated. And thank you for supporting this channel. And with that being said, let's get into today's video. Now, this news comes out a day after the 76ers announced that they will withhold $8.25 million and not give that to Ben Simmons, who is also holding out on the 76ers. So we know Ben Simmons, that whole situation with the 76ers has become really ugly ever since that playoff series against the Atlanta Hawks, where he missed the layup. The 76ers lost that series, and the rest was history. The entire 76ers organization was throwing Ben Simmons under the bus, and I know there's a lot of fans that think he rightfully deserves. So, which, okay, I rest my case. Okay, he deserves it, but that is not something you run to the media and talk about. Yes, he blew up that huge layup that would have been big for the 76ers, but I think that's just really unprofessional. Take it from a great organization, a champion, Toronto Raptors. You keep those kind of things behind closed doors. And I may not be the biggest Ben Simmons fan, but the situation of how the 76ers broke this news to the media. I talked about Doc Rivers in particular, was asked if he could win a championship with Ben Simmons, and he said, I don't know. So I think just some of the things that the players were doing, I believe Joel Embiid also said something to the media as well. I think just some of those things you need to keep behind doors. And even when you ask questions, you deflect the question as a professional, or you talk or you change the question, you know. So I think that was a really inappropriate of Doc Rivers and the 76ers organization for throwing Ben Simmons under the bus. And I understand, guys, Ben Simmons has struggled. Yes, he's got his shot that he's still not developed since his rookie season, but that is not something you do. You don't throw your players under the bus. Did he struggle? Yes. Did he receive that criticism fairly? Absolutely. But that's not something you do to the media. The media is the last people you want to run to. And I honestly don't blame Ben Simmons. And I know many people may disagree on this, but we as NBA fans have a habit of having recency bias. We saw that with Paul George when he hit the side of the board. Everyone was going crazy. And I'm not saying Ben Simmons is going to come back and have a Paul George type of season, but the guy, for all of the hate he does get, he is 25 years old. And yes, he absolutely needs to develop his shot, and he actually needs to shoot that shot, because there's no point of practicing that shot if you don't take it. But the whole situation has been messy, and the 76ers and Ben Simmons have been locking heads the entire offseason. And then Ben Simmons has talked about how he is done with the 76ers, and he's not coming back, and he is going to skip preseason and sit out and lose money if he has to. So the 76ers said, we're not going to be giving you the $8.25 million. Now, I do believe this news is fabricated by the 76ers. Yes, the Raptors may have been interested and may very well be interested as we speak right now in Ben Simmons. But the reason I say this is not a coincidence that Ben Simmons' trade value, we know what the 76ers are asking, has slowly come down after news was revealed that he does not want to be part of the 76ers anymore. And then there was news about him not wanting to attend training camp and potentially sit out the season, if that's what it takes to be traded from the 76ers. Now, we saw a similar situation last season with James Harden, where he was not attending training camp. But when you're comparing players, I think James Harden, and that's not to disrespect Ben Simmons, because Ben Simmons is clearly the better defender, and Ben Simmons can get others involved on offense besides his scoring as well. But I think James Harden is clearly the far superior player on offense, and the impact that James Harden will have on a team if they traded for him is much more than Ben Simmons will have. So I think someone like James Harden, not that you say these kind of behaviors are acceptable, but it's also that he'll still fetch you a fair price, you know, even if he does something like this. Ben Simmons, on the other hand, despite being 25 years old, I don't know if he can do the same. You know, he'll hold out on the 76ers, and his trade value has come so far down. I don't even know if the 76ers will be able to get anything great in return. This whole saga has turned really ugly. And now let's talk about the Raptors. Now, he's been tied in with the Raptors this entire offseason. We know the 76ers have been in talks with the Raptors, vice versa. They were apparently asking for OG Anunoby, Fred VanVleet, and another player I'm forgetting. Kyle Lowry was, the third player they wanted apparently in a trade, but that obviously is not going to happen. So that's just to give you an idea of what the 76ers asking price was at the beginning of the offseason, of what they wanted for Ben Simmons, which is absolutely ridiculous. I wouldn't even trade OG Anunoby one-on-one for Ben Simmons. So let's talk about what the Raptors could potentially give in a trade for to the 76ers for Ben Simmons. So I think something along the lines, obviously we have Goran Dragic. I know a lot of you guys have been saying I don't pronounce his name right, but Dragic. And obviously his salary is going to be a big part of the trade. So I think having him in a trade, and unfortunately Chris Boucher as well. But the thing is, where do you place Ben Simmons now? You have Khem Birch, you have Precious Achiuwa at the center position. And a lot of fans have talked about placing Ben Simmons in the center position. So where do you potentially place Ben Simmons if he does get traded to the Raptors? Do you play him at the point guard position? Because now we have Fred VanVleet, we got Gary Trent Jr. at that shooting guard position. Where do you play Ben Simmons? Do you push Khem Birch back to the bench and then play Precious Achiuwa as a power forward? I don't know about that. Again, I'm not trying to hate on Ben Simmons. He's a very talented player. I just don't know how he fits in with the Raptors, particularly his shooting flaws. He's obviously got huge problems and issues with him and shooting. He just refuses to shoot. And then on top of that, we drafted Scotty Barnes as well. Again, I'm not comparing the rookie to an all-star defensive player of the year. Potentially, actually. He hasn't won the defensive player of the year, but he was in the running for this season of winning the defensive player of the year. And of course, the rookie of the year as well. So yes, Scotty Barnes, we can't compare him to Ben Simmons just yet, but just in terms of what he's able to do, I think he provides similar tools. And it would be great if, obviously Scotty Barnes turned into someone like Ben Simmons with shooting, of course. But I just don't see how this makes sense for the Raptors to trade for Ben Simmons. I talked about this in my last video of how I think the Raptors will be involved in a Ben Simmons trade, but I don't think that will necessarily mean that Ben Simmons is coming to the Raptors. Now, out of the teams besides the Raptors that were involved and reportedly still interested in Ben Simmons is the Spurs, Minnesota Timberwolves, who've been rumored also all offseason as well. So Pistons, Cavaliers, and Pacers as well. So maybe the Raptors could be a third team again, facilitating some of the salary being moved, and maybe they acquire another piece, in terms of something maybe the other teams are willing to give up. So I don't know how the Raptors will be able to acquire Ben Simmons, but I do think they may be the third team involved just to move the salary pieces around. Maybe they can get something back, So obviously there's been rumors about Goran Dragic being moved. This offseason, the Raptors said they believe they can get much more. There were some rumors about them saying they can get much more than what, obviously they're being offered right now at the moment for Goran Dragic. So it'll be interesting to keep that an eye on. And also the Ben Simmons situation as well, whether the Raptors are involved in the trade or not. I think it's very important as Raptors fans to keep an eye on this, because the 76ers are obviously a division rival and is going to be one of those teams. I talked about this in my 5 bold predictions in my last video, where I do believe the 76ers, unless they get a very significant piece back for Ben Simmons, which I don't see happening, I think they're going to be lower in the standings below the Toronto Raptors. So it'll be interesting to see what moves the Raptors, or I should say, the 76ers will make, what they'll get back, and how they'll affect them. And of course, Joel Embiid as well. So I think the whole situation with Ben Simmons and 76ers have gotten really ugly. He's talked about, obviously him and Joel Embiid not being a good fit. And then Joel Embiid came back at him. He came back at him the next day and he said, you know what, we've built our team around Ben Simmons. He said we let go of apparently Jimmy Butler, who he said, Joel Embiid, quote unquote, it was his words, saying that was a mistake because Ben Simmons wanted the ball in his hand. So I think that relationship right there is done. Ben Simmons is getting traded sooner, I believe, rather than later. We know training camp has already started. Preseason is starting in a few days. And we know the season starts in a couple of weeks down the road here. So it'll be interesting to keep your eyes locked on in Ben Simmons and the 76ers, what they do. And if you guys want to stay locked on this channel as well, make sure to hit the subscribe button. That would be greatly appreciated. Again, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I do really appreciate all of you guys watching. I know there's a big day for the Blue Jays, so let's go Blue Jays. Hopefully they get that win there. But again, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for the support of the channel. It is very much appreciated. And I hope you guys have yourselves a great day.